Creative Brain Candy by creators for creators.
Welcome to Cigars and Coffee, Charlotte edition. It's finally happened, folks. Yes, that's right. I have somebody who has replaced Tim. You're welcome. It's on. It's Randy Carmichael. Randy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, James.
Thanks for being here. We're here in Charlotte for the Queen City Cigar Fest, which has been a great time for the most part. Sans Randy. It's been really fun. It's a 13-hour trip from Iowa, but we're here. We're here today at the Vintage in Charlotte. Great spot. This is the spot to come when you're in Charlotte. But we'll get to all of that here in just a little bit. Randy, why don't you tell the folks about your bona fides?
Tim hired me off the street to make him look good.
Is that really what happened?
It's exactly what happened.
Fuck you, Tim.
Tim is an asshole. From what my understanding, my brief conversation on the side of the street with him did seem kind of like an asshole.
Way to go, Tim. Way to go.
Am I supposed to look at you with the camera? This thing pointed at my face. I still don't know what to do with my hands. None of this was covered. There was no...
That's how today's going to go.
Do or do not.
Folks, welcome to the show. Today we're smoking the house blend here at the Vintage Cigar in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is actually blended by a friend of Randy's, Nick Syris.
A friend who James refuses to have on the podcast for some unbeknownst reason to me. Not that I'm putting you on the spot to explain yourself, James, but explain yourself to all four of your viewer.
All four of my listeners.
Accidental downloaders. Probably people that subscribed and passed on, yet their cell phone plan is still active and downloading your podcast.
Yeah, probably. So, Nick's coming on the show. I don't know what else you want me to tell you. He's coming on the show. There's this thing called scheduling in the podcasting biz, Randy.
Never heard of her.
Yeah. And so I just have to figure out a time that works for both he and I. But he and I have chatted via text. He will be coming on the show. So look for that soon.
And Nick is not only my friend, he's a very good friend of the general manager here at the Vintage, right?
Yeah, of Yanni, who is he curated everything in the humidor here at the Vintage. Kind of came up with the vibe and the setup and all of that, and it's a great spot. Like, it's fantastic. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But he's a friend of Yanni here, who he used to work for him. Which I think I'm going to have Yanni on the podcast on the next episode. Which kind of brings me to what this is. So this Cigars and Coffee is actually going to be a supplemental episodes now for Simply Stogies podcast. So you'll get content every week or thereabouts from Simply Stogies podcast. You can still watch this on YouTube. You can still, if you want to. I don't know why you would, but you could.
Sounds like a great idea.
Kind of like having Randy on the show.
Horrible idea.
Horrible idea. While we're talking about horrible ideas, go to creativebraincandy.com and check out all the great podcasts that we have at creativebraincandy.com, including the Video Game Lounge. Yes, I'm trying to do time travel to figure out when this episode will release. The Video Game Lounge. It's from three older guys who like to look back on video games nostalgically and talk about the good old days. They do it in a funny, humorous way. Great guys. Check them out. The Video Game Lounge, creativebraincandy.com. Check out the great family of podcasts that we have there while you're there as well. And now my shelling is done, and that's it. That's all I have to do. So we got up today. We had every intention of coming in before they opened. But we didn't. We didn't make it here quite before they opened. We were going to sit out here on the patio. We had it all worked out with the GM. A little late today, so
Takes a lot to put all this together. That just doesn't happen. Fourth shirt. Should have seen the other three.
Regardless, we stopped off, since this is cigars and coffee, we stopped off at a place called Smelly Cat Coffee.
Why does it sound like you have a question after that?
I didn't pick the spot that we stopped off at.
James is not a believer in Yelp. I personally am I guess I'm a follower. Yelped up. James wanted me to drive 20 minutes instead of 5 minutes to get an average cup of coffee.
Oh, all right. So, in all fairness to Smelly Cat, it's a great little spot in a... What do they call those kinds of neighborhoods?
Commune?
Maybe.
Commune? Hipster area.
Safe space.
Hipster safe space.
Yeah, not typically my jam, but great coffee. This is the Cubano. I think it's actually pretty good. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. You got the Cortada, which you have destroyed, it looks like. We could have just went to the Dunkin' Donuts right there and got Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
And they make coffee here.
And they make coffee here at the Vintage. So let's talk about the Vintage since you brought that up, Randy. Let's talk about the Vintage. It has a nice large patio area, which is where we're at. If you can't tell, we're outside. But it's got 2 large garage doors that they can open up so everybody inside, outside, it's all the same. You're on the same level playing field. It's a $25 day pass. If you're from out of town, $25, come in and smoke. If you're a member, $2,000 to become a member, I think.
There's different levels.
Yeah, I think
it's on their website.
It's on their website. Do you know the website off the top of your head?
I would say if you typed in the Vintage Charlotte, North Carolina into any legitimate search engine, it would probably bring you close enough to their website you could get to it within 3 clicks.
Ask Jeeves?
Yes, Ask Jeeves.
Is that still a thing?
As long as you don't use Bing. Bing is the Satan of search engines, I do believe.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Well, I'm putting it into the Google machine. That's what I trust is the
Google.com?
Google the machine. Yeah, so it's the vintageclt.com is where you can go. It's at 215 East Worthington Avenue, Charlotte, North Carolina. You can give them a call at 704-931-3636 or email info@thevintageclt.com. You can subscribe to their newsletter. It's a great place. It is, as I've said before on this show, on Simply Stogies podcast, where we come from, Iowa, you can't have a cigar bar. It's just a lounge. And that's all you can have because of the dumb laws that they have in Iowa. But here in North Carolina, you can have cigar bars. And cigar bars are fantastic if they're done right. If they're done right, in my opinion, I think Randy agrees with me, it has to be, the music can't drown out conversation because that's what you're there for. You're there for conversation. You're there to commune with other brothers and sisters of the Leaf and get to know them and enjoy your experience of smoking the cigar and socializing with other people who are in the hobby. But they have curated here at the Vintage a lot of different scotches, some whiskeys, which North Carolina works the same way as Iowa, where you've got to buy your liquor from the state. So sometimes maybe you may not find the best, the bourbon you're looking for, but they're working on it. And if you're a wine guy,
Port guy. It's like wine, but for men.
I don't drink wine or port.
Surprising.
What's the difference? What's the difference, Randy?
One tastes better than the other. Port's a fortified wine. It's just better. It's like alcoholic cotton candy.
So when you come in, we need to give a big shout out to Marshall, who he was the bartender the last couple times we've been in. Great dude, helped set this up and let us come in on the patio. I had it all set up so we could do it in the morning before they opened.
Then there were so many costume changes, we were actually half an hour late.
We were much more than a half hour late.
Depends. I always intend to be late.
You do. Why is that?
Why not? Because usually, generally, if you show up on time, I've found, in the adult world, most people spend the first half an hour scratching their junk, getting everything aligned, figuring out what they're going to do. So you can avoid all of that and just show up when the whatever it is actually taking place. Avoid the good mornings, how's your weekend, where do I put the microphones?
Sure.
Shenanigans.
Sure.
Works out well for me.
If you say so.
It absolutely does.
Typically, I try to live by if you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. And if you're late, why'd you even come?
How's that working out for you, James?
Pretty good until this trip.
Awkward silence.
Anyway, back to the vintage. When you come here to Charlotte, if you're in the Charlotte area and you're watching this first, I'm very, very sorry that you're watching this. If you're listening to this, you're in the Charlotte area. That's probably a little bit better. But this is a diverse place. It's all walks of life here that come in. They sit down, women, which I don't see any at the moment unless you count Randy. Well, I'm sorry if you're watching this. But if you're from out of town, like the humidor is probably the most well-curated humidor out of all of the different lounges we've been to on this trip.
Yeah, and how many have we been to?
4?
4, 5?
4 or 5 now. It's probably the best curated. They are the largest Ashton dealer in Charlotte. Great selection of sticks, and they've got, and we'll get back to this stick, the house blend blended by Nick Syris and Yanni. It's they've got the LH blends. Mm-hmm. They've got the LH lines, the Nick Jr., the Claro, the Colorado, and the Maduro, which I'm hoping by the time this comes out, I have at least one of those reviews that I've done out. Because here's the thing about LH Cigars. They're not well known yet, but they should be. They're absolutely fantastic cigars, very smooth. Nick knows what he's doing. How did you hook up with Nick? Like, tell us a story. This is a great story how you kind of fell into a friendship with Nick.
I think I was searching for a good cigar podcast, and this one was probably around, so I wasn't listening to it. I was listening to Nick, Cigar Coop, a gentleman named Doc, and I think there was another individual on the Smooth Draws podcast, and they were doing Cuba trips. So I signed up for a trip to go to Cuba and started emailing, texting back and forth with Nick, and ended up going to Cuba with Nick. And then later on, I went to, a couple of years later maybe, I went to Nicaragua with Nick for a Puro Sabor. But we've just always stayed in contact, chatted, texted. Yeah, he's a great guy.
How was the trip?
Awesome.
What can you tell us? What can you tell us about Nick?
Nick's just like, he's the most down-to-earth great guy. Little short Greek dude. Was a New York cop, I think city cop for a while. Got into the cigar, and I could be totally wrong about this. Pretty sure I'm not. It's loosely based on the truth. This is like the movie version of the book.
Sure.
I believe he was, somehow he fell in with some Saudi princes, and they wanted a cigar lounge in Saudi Arabia, and he started blending and built a lounge in Saudi Arabia and still has lounges over there, I believe. And that's where his cigars, he sells them internationally and everything. And that's how he got tied in with Cuba. And Nick's a great guy. You're walking down the street in Cuba and everybody's like, Nick, Nick, Nick. It's kind of weird. But, yeah, that's where he got his cigar start, I guess you could call it. And then he's been trying to bring those into the States. And Nick's just that, I want to say sad story, like he should be huge. But every time he's on the cusp, some small part of the machine breaks, and it just sets him back. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back for Nick repeatedly. And
which is the opposite of this show, which is 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
There's a forward step?
Depends on the day.
I've erased all of that. This is a clear level set of the cigar podcast palette.
Yes, it really is.
Don't know what to do with my hands.
It's all right. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Told.
But you created you made a fast friend with Nick.
Yeah, super personable guy, like most people in the industry. Super personable, willing to sit down and talk to you. He knows everybody. Everybody knows him. The stories, the camaraderie, the brotherhood of the leaf, as you guys say, is there and thick with Nick, and just an amazing person overall and very easy to talk to.
It's funny, as we were getting ready to leave this morning from the B&B, you texted Nick to ask him about this blend in particular, and he just calls you.
Well, and I asked him, I said, what can I say and what should I not say about you, Nick? And he's like, when he calls, he's like, it's all whatever. He's like, there's no secrets.
There are no secrets. So what secrets can you tell us about Nick?
I have none. That's the bad part. There's no juicy, dirty little secret.
He sounds like a great guy. I can't wait to sit down and talk with him and find out how he got in the industry, why he got in the industry, his vision, what's in store for LH Cigars, because they really are on the cusp of blowing up. I think everything I've had from them has been fantastic. If I had to describe it in one word, it would be smooth.
Yes.
There's no harsh edges with any of his cigars. I really dig it.
I say this, it pains me to say this because it sounds like something a pompous cigar guy would say, but very Cuban-esque in that on the retro hail, there's no bitterness, there's no burn. It doesn't feel like somebody's dragging a hot sauce so dragged through your nose.
And that's the same with this house blend.
Yeah.
It is very smooth. When I pair it with this Cubano from Smelly Cat, can't believe you made me go to a place that's called Smelly Cat.
I can't believe you were licking the window. I think it was inappropriate.
Well, they seem to enjoy it. There's a little bit of butter. It's very creamy when I pair it with a coffee. But I didn't get that last night smoking one here. Or not last night, the night before. Whenever we were here the first time. Mm-hmm. I didn't get that. It was very full of rich flavors, but the coffee really lightens it up. So I would say if you come here to the Vintage, get the house blend. You've got to try it. It's fantastic. Pair it with a coffee. I think it's a great pairing. It just kind of builds on those flavors. It gives you a little bit more depth. There's almost an umami flavor.
Did you say new mommy?
Umami.
Umami. Okay, just editing.
Just turn it in my head.
This is going to take you twice as long to edit than any
might just
other.
It might just be this. Welcome
might
to the
be
Vintage.
In the trash can.
This is Randy.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Yeah, thank you. Goodbye. It just might be that.
With my hands.
What flavors are you picking up from the cigar? Let's turn to the cigar, the house blend here at the Vintage. What kind of flavors are you picking up?
I think I can get the buttery, almost like an avocado oil, and that's common throughout Nick's blends. I think it's that smoothness, that creaminess. You're gonna rat me out, aren't you?
I am.
This friendship is going to shit.
Avocado oil. Let's talk about avocado oil for a second. I'm so glad you said it. I have baited you into it.
I knew you did.
How, in the name of all that is holy, do you know what avocado oil tastes like, Randy?
So, I'm smoking a tri-tip. So it's nice, low, slow, easy piece of meat to smoke, 3 hours so. And then sear it in a cast iron pan. So I wanted the oil with the highest smoke temp I could source. Avocado oil. So I'm smoking my tri-tip on the smoker.
Avocado oil sounds like something a hipster would buy.
It does, and I thought this is going to be very expensive. Wasn't, surprisingly, shockingly. But anyways. So got the cast iron on the smoker. Heating it up 500 degrees-ish so I can sear the tri-tip. Little Maillard reaction, get a nice crust on it. He rolled his eyes.
I did indeed roll my eyes.
I like to eat nice things.
I didn't go. Just continue with your story.
So I'm like, I need a little bit more avocado oil for this, so I fill up a little glass of avocado oil and I'm running it to the grill. And what does avocado oil taste like? So I take a little sip, a little nip of the avocado oil. It really tastes almost like a drawn butter. To which I told James, I was like, hey, what did I tell James? To slide in the avocado oil
In a review.
And why did I ask you to do this?
I don't know, because you said nobody else would do it. Nobody else would know what it would be something that is specific to Simply Stogies.
And I said most reviewers would latch onto it and be like, that's exactly it. Because I do believe most of them are about 60% full of avocado drippings.
Probably 98% full of avocado drippings. Pink Himalayan sea salt.
Speaking of sensuous black hair and why we were late, not only 3 outfit changes. This man, this guy, how many pieces of flair do you have on your side of the double sink at the B&B, Jim? Huh?
All right, look.
13.
That's not.
I counted.
That's not accurate.
I counted this morning. 13. Only if you count
toothbrush, toothpaste, comb, hair product, moisturizer, deodorant,
toothpaste, travel tube lid standing next to the... I was unsure what it was and a little uncomfortable when I went into the bathroom this morning.
It does look.
I have a quip as well. I think that's a quip.
It is a quip.
I have a quip as well. It comes with a simple little slide on top. He has this...
Mine did not come with the simple slide on top.
You have this cylindrical...
That's what it came with. That's what it came with.
Lengthy...
It does.
Tube-shaped.
Yes, it is phallic.
That has to sit on the counter standing up, very erect.
I did that.
Next to the quip.
I did that specifically for you.
13 I counted twice. And that is including the quip and the quip travel tube. That is not including the washcloth that lays out on the...
How many cigars are we smoking every day? Since we've been here, what's the average number of cigars we smoked every day? Like, this is number 2 for me already today.
Not enough?
The average is 6. That's the average, 6 a day.
So it's a typical day.
I want to wash my face at the end of every day. Get it all off. Get all the smoke off
Need
my
to
face.
scrub harder.
Tim, I want you back, buddy. I want you back.
Looking out for you, Tim.
What would you rate the coffee? Let's do that, because you got the cortada, whole milk. It's like a frappuccino thing. I don't know what they called it when they handed it to me. They didn't call it the cortada. Like, rate the coffee, Randy. 1 to 5 for you. That's how Randy rates things. 1 to 5. He doesn't believe in yard guards. Let's talk about your rating system.
I don't have a rating system.
Oh, you have a rating system.
Smoke it or not?
That's his rating system. Smoke it or not.
I just don't believe a 1 to 100 rating system.
I don't either. It's 1 to 10.
Even a 1 to 10. It's either good or it's not. Would you buy it again? So where on your 1 to 10 scale would you say you would not buy a cigar again?
Anything below an 8. If it's an 8 or above, if I walk into a humidor...
But hold on. That's not how the rest of the world sees a 1 to 10. If I'm at a bar, married, not happening, but if I'm at a bar and I see a girl and she's an 8, I'm down with the 8.
It's just,
10's preferable, but I'm down with the 8. We all are. You know you are.
But that's assuming that there's no decimal points, that there's no... It's not attributing for nuance. And that's everything that a cigar is. It's nuance. It's complex. You're looking at a woman and objectifying her in this analogy.
Or man. Don't fence me in, James.
You're looking at a man and you're saying to yourself 1 through 10, objectifying them in a way that I am 100% uncomfortable with.
Based on the complexities, including personality.
Bullshit.
Oh, shit.
Bullshit. I call bullshit. You said you would rate them 1 to 10, and you would an 8, and a 7, and maybe even a 6. I don't know. Where do you draw the line? So You're comparing apples and walnuts. It's not even in the same family.
And you do the same thing with yard gars and regular cigars.
You don't believe in a yard gar.
I don't believe you should smoke anything you don't like. And if you like something, you should smoke that.
But you've got to burn to learn.
That is true. And that's why every time I go into a humidor, I always look for something new or different. And I have my everyday solid cigar that I really like that
Which is what?
9. Undercrown Maduro in the Gran Toro size.
Which is a great cigar.
Go through a box every 4 or 5 days.
That's how much he smokes. Like, I'm typically 2 a day and I'm done. This trip, I won't smoke for a week when I get home. That's not true. Maybe a day. I'll have to take a break. Soft palate. It's bruised.
It's bruised.
Yeah.
Just
I knew he was going to
beat
say
up.
that, so I beat him to it.
Bottom's clean knocked out of it.
So you don't believe that there's such a thing as a yard gar?
I recognize the fact that it is a thing. I personally would not buy a cheaper, lower quality cigar for that occasion. I smoke a True Estate Undercrown Maduro Gran Toro $10 cigar when I'm mowing the yard.
Would you smoke a $50 cigar while you're mowing the yard?
I don't think there's very few cigars that are worth $50.
I would agree with that as well. I don't think $100 cigars aren't a thing for me. I don't think I have a couple. If I smoke them, when I smoke them, I know I'm going to be disappointed because they're not worth the price point.
And those cigars, I believe, are what you call a celebratory cigar, which is a thing. You know, birth of a child, promotion, some significant event, whatever it is. And I believe that the circumstances around the cigar add to the taste, the flavor, the experience of that cigar. So you hold that cigar up higher. And it could just be, I'm going to treat myself to this cigar, and you're going to smoke it. And knowing people are people, and people are what, James?
People are assholes. Don't be a people.
They're going to convince themselves that just because they paid this for this cigar, that it was good, regardless of the fact whether it is or it isn't.
And that's a great point, because you've said that you want to give me unbanded cigars and have me review them.
I can't wait for him to give a quorum a 9. So I said, James, I will send you 2 unbanded cigars. I'll put the bands in an envelope, what they are, everything else. You write your review. You send me your review, and then I will give you the bands or email, whatever. We live a little hour and a half away from each other. I will send you what you smoked. That is the only. If you look at an Undercrown, Shade, Maduro, whichever flavor of Undercrown you're going to pick up, Drew Estate cigar, and Ashton, you kind of know what you're getting into when you pick it up, and you go into a set expectations.
Well, yeah, you know what flavor profile you're in the mood for. Like, unless you're picking something up just to try something new, to burn to learn, you kind of know what you're in the mood for, whether it's light, medium, full.
But as a reviewer, though, you're going in with...
Well, you know what typically Aganorsa tobacco tastes like. You know what Drew Estate tobacco tastes like. You know what Todd
So you
Wadhey,
go
my
into
father
every
like.
one of your reviews with a bias.
I honestly try not to. I really do. I try to put all of that aside and really just focus on what I'm tasting and how my palate's interpreting it, which at the Queen City Cigar Fest, the very first day, they went through a tasting process and how to reset your palate and how to really take the time to figure out what it is you're tasting and what you're really tasting, which I thought that was fun. I thought it was good.
It was fun, yeah.
Didn't think it was good.
I said it was fun.
Okay.
Jesus.
I just want to put him on the spot.
It was... So this is the inaugural Queen City Cigar Festival.
First one,
And there are kinks. Just like anytime, prom night kinks. Things aren't going perfectly as planned. You know, it's obvious they're struggling with the bra strap. But I think they're going to get there. They're going to get there. they're working it out. They're figuring it out. And each cigar festival has its own culture, theme, tradition. I'm a crotchety old white guy, one step away from yelling at the clouds in my yard, you know. I don't like a venue where the music's so loud that I can't have a conversation while smoking a cigar. It's not for me. That's kind of how we ended up at the Vintage every night during the festival. But there's a significant portion of the people, locals and that traveled in from out of town, that do like that.
Yeah.
So it's just not my jam.
No, not mine either. I enjoy being able to relax, sit down, hear who I'm talking to, and carry on a conversation. Some of them it's a very club-esque vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very club-esque vibe, and that's... I, too, am an old, crotchety white guy, but I do stand in my yard and yell at the clouds, so join us. We have cookies.
Cookies?
Yeah. Join the dark side. We have cookies. Anyway, regardless, rate the Smelly Cat.
Smelly Cat. It's like 4. It's coffee.
4 out of 5.
Sure. Why not?
Rookie score.
I would drink again.
Rookie score. If you go, I would highly recommend the Cuban.
Which is the only thing he tried, so he cannot recommend anything else that may be better on the menu.
I think it's really good. A little bit of sweetness. Buttery finish with the house blend. Smoking like a guppy over there.
Paying homage to Cigar Coop.
I would give this an 8.4. I'd try it. I would try it if you might like it.
What's a 1? Is like a K-cup a 1?
It depends on the K-cup. A 1 would be Tim's Sam's Club Colombian Special Blend.
I'm down with that. That's pretty much like dishwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was gross.
Have you tried the Wake cups yet?
No.
They're weird. They're K-cup. They're actually decent coffee, but they don't have a plastic cup. They have like a little mail plane.
Three Amigo reference for those of you.
The plane, it has the little. You can tell it's a mail plane because it had the little balls. But so much editing.
So much editing.
So much editing.
I may not edit any of this out and just.
So the
you're
Wake,
welcome.
The Awake, something like that. It's got an owl, giant eyes if it's caffeinated, sleepy eyes if it's non-caffeinated. You've seen them.
Yes. So
they don't have, it's almost like a coffee filter bag, Coleman lantern bag hanging underneath the plastic top. Looks like I'm going to say walnut when it's done making and you pull it out, but really looks like a testicle when you pull it out of the Keurig, which is kind of,
no.
But it's great coffee.
Great coffee. All
great
right.
coffee.
Rate the cigar. Rate this house blend.
On a 1 to what's
whatever
your scale?
Whatever scale you use.
What's your arbitrary
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
1 to 10. I take into account things like burn line, construction, draw, aesthetics of the band, flavor. Rate the house blend here at the Vintage. Why not just put it in front of your mouth? Your hand. That's how we were shown at the Queen City Cigar Fest.
This guys I trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be high 8s, low 9s. Like, just put me on the spot.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do here.
Yeah, well,
you've watched 5 minutes of one episode.
5 minutes?
3 minutes.
I watched most of part of one of these, and like, I was driving, so I started to nod off, so I immediately changed it to something else. So I have no idea what is supposed to happen here.
Pretty much exactly what happened.
Seems like a shit show.
Kind of is.
Like an epileptic milking a cow. It's just shit everywhere.
I don't think you can say that.
Epileptic milking a cow. Yeah, I can.
High 8s, low 9s.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to go?
Yeah,
while we're waiting for Sparky to come up with a number, I really like this.
8-7. No,
right,
hold on. You told
fair.
me no, but when we were talking about this, and the arbitrary rating system, we were talking about he shall not be named with the sensuous hair, and you said an 80 means it's a bad cigar.
Yeah, but that for me, anything in the 8s, it's a solid cigar. Like 8 to 8.4, it's a solid cigar. Like I would smoke it. If I've got it in my humidor, I would probably buy one if I go into a humidor. An 8.4 through an 8.9, that's like a 5-pack worthy, a box if I'm feeling it. And anything 9 or above, that's a box purchase, immediate box purchase. I will always seek it out in the humidor, see if they've got it. Like it's really good.
But
It hits
you're
my
also a
palate
cigar
right.
hoarder. More so than a cigar smoker.
That's all the time we have today, folks. No,
Thank you for coming.
That's not true. I smoke it. I just don't smoke as much as you do every day.
Then why do you buy what you're not going to smoke?
Because it's part of the hobby. It's curating your collection, and it's having things on hand for other people to try that you really like.
Sounds like the crazy old lady with 30 years of newspapers stacked up in the hallway.
Cigars are much, much better to smoke than newspapers.
Have you tried a vintage New York Times? Just saying, the crossword section.
Okay, so you're changing your
Well,
your
based
scoring?
based on your scoring methodology, which I had no idea, which I would say it's 9.2.
Okay, that's I think that's fair.
I don't think I would put any of Nick's dicks below a 9.
I think he's very close to a 9 on all of his cigars that I've smoked so far. I think he's very close to 9s. There's a couple that are over 9s. This I would probably rate at an 8.9.
Well, that just makes you an asshole.
Okay. Why does it make me an asshole?
Why does it not?
Do you want me to give it a 9? That's a
No,
rookie score.
no.
It's a rookie score.
You are a rookie.
And there it is, folks. When you're in the Charlotte area, this is the place to come. The Vintage, right?
Is this over yet?
I was thinking that about 10 minutes after we started. The Vintage, 215 East Worthington Avenue, Charlotte, North Carolina, 704-931-3636. Big shout out to Marshall, the bartender. Ask for him. He'll help you out. Ask for Yanni. He's the guy who curates the humidor and put this place together with the owner. He's done a fantastic job. Look for an interview with him coming up soon. Simply Stogies podcast, simplystogies.com. Go there, check out our reviews, all of our product reviews, our lounge reviews, where you'll see a lounge review of the Vintage coming up in the next couple of months. I have a backlog of lounge reviews that I've got to get to, but you'll see it soon, I promise. It is it's a high class, but it's approachable.
It's a nice place.
It's a nice place, but it's approachable. I can come here in jeans, and apparently the 4th shirt that I put on today, is that what you said?
Third
Shirt that I put on today. I thought I only put one on. Apparently I put on 2 beforehand and modeled for Randy. That's the kind
vomited in my mouth. Not just a little bit either. Like had to chew it back.
That's gross. But when you're here, they'll treat you right. Good place. But you can come in jeans and a shirt. You can come in whatever the hell it is you're wearing.
Jeans and a shirt.
Those aren't jeans. Like khakis. I don't even know if they're khakis. Like a deeper shade of khakis.
So I'm not dressed like a... So you remind me right now, sitting there, smoking on your cigar, I have the visions of the Wally cruise ship in my mind.
Tim, I can't wait to have you back. Cannot wait.
Tim, not only am I going to request the agreed upon flat fee for tanking this, I have some expenses that I expected to be compensated for as well. We'll talk later, Tim.
SimplyStogies.com. Check out the greatest, or the latest, probably not the greatest, latest reviews, product reviews, lounge reviews. They're all coming. The Vintage is coming. I promise it'll be on there. I have a backlog of stuff I got to get to, but it'll be there. Check it out. SimplyStogies.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
I apologize.
Randy, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I apologize as well.
As he should.
For Randy. I'm
First
James.
time, don't know what's going on. Still don't know what to do with my hands.
Stay smoky, friends.